Thanks for joining us. I'm Alex Bell, and this is To the Point. We're taking the time to go more in depth and diving deeper into issues that are affecting the lives of Northern Californians. And tonight's main point, Kiely Rodni's disappearance. National media and Truckee today covering the teen's disappearance more than 2 weeks ago. Today, the Nevada County Sheriff says that a body recently found is likely the missing teen. A specialty search and recovery team, Adventures with Purpose, announced yesterday that they found a body during a search of Prosser Creek Reservoir. You can see it right here on this map. Now, the discovery is concerning to the Nevada County community. So we are going live to Truckee in just a minute, but first, here's what's happened in the case so far. The search for Kiely Rodni began a little more than 2 weeks ago. On Friday, August 5th, the 16-year-old from Truckee attended a large high school party at the Prosser family campground. The next day, the Placer County Sheriff's Office shared a Facebook post about the missing teen. And by August 8th, several local agencies were searching for Rodni. And on August 9th, a surveillance video from a Truckee business was released, and it showed Rodni before she went missing. Days had passed, and detectives from local, state, and federal agencies continued to follow hundreds of tips and conduct interviews. 10 days after Rodni's disappearance on August 15th, the group Adventures with Purpose announced that they would help with the search. Shortly after arriving in California on August 21st, the group said that they had found Rodni with her car in 14 feet of water in the Prosser Creek Reservoir. It's not far from the campground where the high school party was held. So, what's next? Tomorrow, the Placer County Sheriff's Office said an autopsy is scheduled and a toxicology report would take likely 4 to 6 weeks. Our Roxanne Elias has been in Truckee all day hearing from the community and Rodni's family.
Alex, there are still so many questions out there right now. We are waiting on official confirmation that the body they found was in fact Kiely Rodni, but authorities say it is very likely. Right now, talking to the community here in Truckee, it is not the outcome that anyone wanted here. Now, a lot of those people and community members say they stand behind Kiely Rodni's family as the investigation continues. That includes visitors from all around the area who did not even know Rodni. They're saddened after being hopeful the young girl would be found alive.
The kids that this child went to school with, and she probably has friends that she's known since elementary school. It's a loss to everybody. It's very, very sad.
The Rodni family responding today with this statement, saying in part, while we accept this sadness cast under death's shadow, the rising sun shines light upon us, reminding us not to mourn our loss, but to celebrate Kiely's spirit and the gift that we all received in knowing her. Kiely will surely remain with us, even though we will not get her back. We have that full statement on our website. Now, back out here live, we saw several posters of those that were asking for the missing girl to be found. Some of those are being taken down now as we wait for an autopsy to happen tomorrow. Alex.
It's absolutely devastating, Roxanne. Thank you so much. To get more context on tonight's main point, I want to go ahead and bring in Zach Corbo. He's the vice president of the volunteer group Sacramento Drowning Accident Rescue Team, also known as DART. Zach, thank you so much for being here. Are dive searches hard for law enforcement to handle?
You know, frequently the Marine Enforcement Division or a Marine unit of your local law enforcement agency is an ancillary or extra duty. And even if it's a full-time role, it's frequently paired with other things. So it can be hard for law enforcement agencies to really put in the time to train and refresh on these skills.
And the manpower. You said also the manpower too. There's not that many people that are assigned to this, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's sometimes a very small team within your larger sheriff's office. Even some really large sheriff's offices only have maybe 4 deputies or officers assigned to the Marine unit. And that means they don't have that much time to really train and become proficient and practice in these skills.
And at what point does law enforcement just turn things over to a dive team? What needs to happen?
So there's really no hard and fast rule as to when law enforcement will move off a scene. You know, our recommendation to any law enforcement or public safety agency is bring in the tools that you think you may need as early into the investigation as possible. I think it's best practice to, if you think you're looking for something underwater, even potentially, have a dive team on standby. That's certainly something our organization would recommend.
And how do dive teams get involved in searches like this one, for example? Is it the family that's reaching out, the community, law enforcement? How does that all really work?
It really can be all of the above. We've received requests directly from public safety agencies, from community members, and we will come to a scene. We will investigate whether it's something we can actually assist with. We'll coordinate with local law enforcement as well.
And from what you know, was this search overly complicated for this specific area?
Some of the things that we're really concerned about when we're searching in an area is the current and the depth of the water, along with the clarity. You know, in these high mountain lakes, it's often not very opaque. Like usually you can see pretty well. The clarity is usually very good. There's often not that much current. Usually you're just concerned about the temperature. Unlike the areas that we're used to in this Sacramento region where we see a lot of current, it's definitely black water diving. You know, they may have been complicated by the fact that it was a decently large area with not that many point last seen. That's really important. If they don't know where they're looking, it looks a lot more challenging.
All right, Zach, thank you so much. We appreciate your time. Well, he served 7 presidents and became the face of the government's COVID-19 response. After the break, what's in Dr. Anthony Fauci's future, who now says that he's ready to step down? Well, monkeypox has officially been detected in all 50 U.S. states. Wyoming became the final state to identify a positive case today, and then more than 15,000 infections have been reported in the U.S. since mid-May. New York leads the way with over 2,900 cases. California coming in second with over 2,600 cases, followed by Florida, which is approaching 1,600. San Francisco is getting another 8,000 doses of the vaccine in the near future, but there is still a shortage of the vaccine. The UK will soon be offering a lower dose of the vaccine to stretch their supply. And then meanwhile, new COVID shots for the Omicron strain could be ready just in time for fall. Pfizer is now asking for FDA authorization. If authorized, the company says it is ready for immediate distribution of the shots. All right, he's spent more than 50 years in government. He's led the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases for decades, has been an advisor to 7 presidents battling the HIV/AIDS epidemic, and became the face of the government's COVID response. But now, Dr. Anthony Fauci is ready for his next chapter. Dr. Fauci announced that he is leaving his government jobs in December. While the 81-year-old is moving on, he is not retiring. He wants to continue to advance science and public health, something we all know that he has not shied away from. Here's Fauci defending masks back in March of 2021 while he's testifying before Congress.
You've been vaccinated and you parade around in 2 masks for show.
Well, let me just state for the record that masks are not theater. Masks are protective. And we
You have
ask
immunity there, theater. If you already have immunity, you're wearing a mask to give comfort to others. You're not wearing a mask because of any sign.
I totally disagree with you.
Dr. Fauci became a celebrity of sorts during the pandemic. There was even a kids song about vaccines, calling them the Fauci Ouchie. All right, Sacramento's Black Wall Street is alive and thriving. We're headed to South Sacramento when we come back after the break. ABC 10 launched the Race and Culture team last year to serve people who have been historically overlooked by news outlets. Through authentic representation and community engagement, we're spending time at local events and meetups to find out what is important to you. So our Race and Culture reporter, Candace Red, who is making her debut on To The Point, very excited about this.
Yes.
You actually spent a lot of time in the community to really find out about Black entrepreneurship out in South Sacramento, excuse me.
Yes, Alex. Well, good evening to you and good evening to our viewers as well. And yes, once again, tonight we're talking about the Florin Square Shopping Center, also known as Sacramento's Black Wall Street. Now, Alex, get this. Our team, the Race and Culture team, we decided to visit the center earlier this month and also a few months back. Again, we've been there a few times, kid you not. And we found out after exploring the center that there's so much more to the shopping district and how it truly supports Black entrepreneurs. Take a look.
Ready?
In a plaza on Florin Road in South Sacramento, the Black entrepreneurial spirit is alive. A timeline of Black history is painted on the walls, and businesses successfully map out their own future. This is the Florin Square Shopping Center. Thomas Donaldson purchased this building in 2003. He came to California from Pennsylvania with a dream.
Dear Lord, I want to come to California and I want to be a machinist. My first profession was simply as a manufacturing engineer. I love to build things. And then just so happens I got into real estate.
Years later, Donaldson moved to Sacramento to serve a cause greater than himself. Now he mentors other Black entrepreneurs at Florin Square.
Going into business is one thing. Being successful and prosperous at that venture is totally different.
Especially for Black entrepreneurs, they disproportionately lack funding, access to social networks, and face other systemic barriers to success.
That many people have the desires, the aspirations to go in business for themselves, but they lack a physical place to set up. So my thought was very simple. If I provide a clean, safe environment for people to fulfill their dreams, it's a win-win situation.
But Donaldson needed help.
I realized what this building needs is a full-time marketing person. And when Aaron walked in, I knew there was an answer to my prayers, period.
Aaron Boyce, who's from Brooklyn, New York, moved to California for a better life just like Donaldson. For Boyce, the journey to success ain't been no crystal stair. He describes his past as
single mom, child of welfare, and I've been stuttering since I was 9. So, I mean, I had issues as a kid, but I was able to rise above those issues. Mom always told me that, whatever you want to do it, and so I did.
With Donaldson's mentorship and Boyce's connections, the shopping plaza grew to more than 200 businesses, retail stores, and nonprofits, 90% Black-owned. Donaldson says the center operates like a mall, encouraging shoppers to buy Black.
If the dollar does not stay in the community dies.
Now, Florin Square is Sacramento's Black Wall Street, a living descendant of one of the most prosperous Black communities in the U.S., the Greenwood District in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
We didn't call ourselves Sacramento's Black Wall Street. Other people did. That is a huge sense of pride.
Black Wall Streets emerged in the late 19th and early 20th centuries in the U.S.
Our history is something that we have to understand.
Hannibal Johnson is an educator who's written extensively about the creation of the Greenwood District in 1906 and its influence on the Black entrepreneurial spirit.
This was a concentration of small businesses, of entrepreneurs, of mom and pop type operations.
Like other communities across the country, Greenwood was born in the shadow of slavery and fueled by legalized racial segregation and overt racism.
The communities, the Black community and the white community, were literally separated by the Frisco tracks, the railroad tracks. And so Black folks lived north of the tracks, created their own community, which included an economy on Black Wall Street or in the Greenwood District. White folks were jealous of the relative success of Black folks across the tracks. And you can see Black millionaires, Black people wearing nice clothes, Black people living in fancy homes, Black people driving cars.
They only needed a reason, and they found their excuse to burn it all down.
The Greenwood District changed forever in 1921. On May 30th, a Black teenager named Dick Rowland got on an elevator. A white teenager named Sarah Page was the elevator operator. Historians say Rowland may have accidentally stepped on Page's foot, or he probably tripped and bumped into her. Page screamed. The next morning, police arrested Rowland. The Tulsa Tribune published an inflammatory report inciting violence.
The story was entitled "Nab Negro for Attacking Girl in an Elevator." It was essentially a call to action and a call to arms to the white community.
A group of Black men went to the courthouse to protect Rowland from a large white mob and possible lynching.
A white man tried to take a gun that one of the Black men was holding. The gun discharged, and in the words of one of the survivors of the massacre, all hell broke loose after that.
Thousands of armed white rioters invaded Greenwood. They murdered black people, looted businesses, and left 35 city blocks in charred ruins. The Tulsa Race Massacre began May 31st and ended June 1st. Historians believe as many as 300 people may have died, most of them black people, making it the deadliest race-based massacre in the nation's history. Not one of the white perpetrators were ever arrested or convicted of a crime.
When I think of Greenwood, what really hurts me more than anything is the fact that the people who built it from a dream.
Despite structural racism, white supremacy, and hate, the spirit of Greenwood's Black Wall Street remains unbreakable, then and now.
We're looking for vendors that want to make Second Saturday their home.
I think we are a microcosm of that Wall Street because there was a spirit there that grew.
And that growing spirit continues to provide a sense of hope and great strength for today's black entrepreneurs, those still working to rise above challenges.
We want this building to still be a beacon of success, collaboration, networking, and family for all to come.
South Sacramento is not a place to be afraid of. It's a place where people who live here understand that we can thrive, and we are thriving, and we will build and make things better.
Love Florin Square. I went there on their second Saturday and it was great.
Yes, an amazing shopping center filled with
yes.
so many great items. And you know what, Alex? I am so glad we are showing and sharing this story with our diverse communities. Every time I see this story, I literally get chills.
And you got out into the community. I mean, this is the first time we're showing it on ABC 10, but you actually connected with the community. Can you talk about that?
Absolutely. As you know, at ABC 10, we stand for you, the community, the public. So, of course, we always want to hear from you. And so ABC 10, we hosted 2 free public screenings of this story, specifically at Florin Square. Again, that was earlier this month. It was more than 70 people who attended the event. And then after the screening, there was a panel discussion and a Q&A with local black business people as well. And we also want to make sure that those who attended the event had an opportunity to ask those questions, especially those who are looking to get into entrepreneurship for themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have part 2 coming up. We want to make sure that you tune in to The Point tomorrow for part 2 of this story. We'll be with Candace, of course, but we will be highlighting some of the entrepreneurs that we were just talking about who make up Florin Square. Candace, thank you so much. Food prices are way up thanks to inflation. Federal data shows that Americans are paying 13% more for their groceries than this time last year. So we asked some of you at home what your fridge is looking like and if you've had to make any changes to your shopping list. We have Vicki Duncan from Elk Grove. She says that she actually likes to keep her fridge full because it makes her feel safe while the pandemic continues. Then we have Rebecca from Modesto. She says inflation has definitely made it difficult for a family of 6 barely get anything for $250. You can send us your pictures of your fridge on our Facebook, email. All you have to do is just send them to thepoint@abc10.com. Of course, we want to hear what's going on in your world. There are a million ways to reach me and the team. We have Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or just send us an email. And if you didn't know, yesterday, you can hear the song already, Dirty Dancing's 35th anniversary just happened. So we'll leave you with this timeless hit song. We hope you had the time of your life. Thank you so much for joining us on this Monday. We'll see you later.